Hello and welcome to your Long Island weather update. It's almost 10 o'clock on March 22nd, 2024. One more dry day. Well, it couldn't even be completely dry because we're getting some drizzle tonight. But we're going to talk about the storm coming up. Obviously, a big change in the weather. We're paying for that nice day we had yesterday, and today we had jet chunk, and then it became an overcast by the later in the afternoon. Just a gray overcast and kind of gloomy as we got toward the 4 or 5 p.m. hour, uh, as you can see there at Souther's Pond. And then tonight, yep, sucky drizzle around. That's right. You can see it tonight in the air. Drizzle, just enough to barely wet the ground, but it made it unpleasant to be around outside. Looking at the current radar, it's probably not even showing up on the radar, this drizzle, but there is drizzle out there because drizzle doesn't show up on the radar. It's really annoying. Here's like a little patch here. Yeah, this is sort of like what it is. It's very patchy, but this is part of the warm air advection, I guess, process as we get the air moistened up ahead of the storm. And looking at the radar, you can see this parade of moisture here. There's a whole bunch of it here in the North Carolinas. This is all moving in our direction. This big mess, and it's actually going to form a new storm pretty much right over here, and where I've got the mouse. Looking at your weather map right now, you can see we've got the highs moving to offshore. We've got this mess coming our way. And looking at the satellite image, you can see it all approaching. I'll run this here. It kind of shows. You can see that low cloud cover and the drizzle that we have coming in. And there was even a little bit of smoke, just a slight bit of haze in the air today from wildfire smoke. I actually captured it on the satellite this morning here. There it is right there. You can see that's smoke right there. It's from the fires going on in western Virginia. But the rain will put those fires out. That's the good news with the rain. At least it'll put the fires out. Those fires shouldn't be a problem. You could sort of see that shield of smoke there kind of coming in as well. Earlier on today, we had more sunshine in the morning. However, there was some jet junk around. You could see there's a line right there. So there was some jet junk. Let's see, show you a little more. Yeah, you can see, look at all that jet. Yeah, a lot of jet junk. Look at that. Man, that's disgusting. So you could see, there's one there, another one there. They show up on the satellites. It's crazy, man. It's just too many damn planes in the sky. We got to cut back on that. So nobody really wants to do anything about it. Planes are terrible, terrible for the planet. So many of them in the sky. It's got to be cut back. But anyway, I know we can't replace it completely, but we should have a high-speed rail network, at least for domestic travel, to replace a lot of these planes. Anyway, sorry for going off topic. Let's talk about, it sort of relates to the whole climate crisis thing as to why we're getting yet another soaker of a storm here. So let's go for the briefing right now here from the Weather Service. Total rainfall amounts and flooding threats are increasing. Now, up there, way up in New York, northern New York, they're going to get one of the biggest snowfalls of the season. And it could start as a brief wintry mix across interior parts of northeast New Jersey, Lower Hudson Valley, and southern Connecticut. And a period of freezing rain and icing possible near and north of I-94 from 11 p.m. late this evening until 5 a.m. Saturday in Orange County. Flood watch for northeast New Jersey, Lower Hudson Valley, and southern Connecticut extended in time, ending 8 a.m. Sunday. Gale warning for ocean waters south of LI Saturday through Sunday morning. Gale warning for non-ocean waters surrounding LI Saturday night through Sunday morning. So a flood watch is in effect for the entire area Saturday into Saturday night. Widespread minor urban and poor drainage flooding with a scattered flash flood threat Saturday afternoon and evening. Minor flooding likely along several quick responding small rivers and streams in northeast New Jersey, Lower Hudson Valley, and southern Connecticut Saturday afternoon. Could be moderate flooding in some areas. Wind gusts of 40 to 45 miles an hour possible Saturday afternoon for LI and southeast Connecticut, especially within any thunderstorms, and likely entire area Saturday evening into Sunday morning. Minor trees, line, and power impacts are possible. And again, that's probably going to need a high wind advisory for that. Beach flooding and scattered dune erosion possible during times of high tide Saturday p.m. through early next week. Overwashes are not expected. Localized minor coastal flooding Saturday evening, increasing potential for widespread minor coastal flooding. Sunny day flooding Sunday p.m. through early next week, and that's because of the northeast flow. So they're showing a map here, and they think that the sweet spot of the heavy rains, 3 inches plus, is going to be just to our north and west. So it says storm total rainfall 2.5 to 3 inches, 3.5 inches likely, locally 4 inches possible. Much of this falling in a 6 to 8 hour period between noon Saturday and 10 p.m. Rainfall rates of a quarter inch to a half an inch late Saturday morning into Saturday p.m. Potential for 1 to 3 hour period of 1 inch hour rate. So it could be a lot. Like I said, there's going to be a line of heavy downpours. When we look at the models, we'll look at all that. So we're going to have flooding threats, and we're going to have some wind threats, and we're going to go right now to the weather and hazards map. We'll talk about what we got currently as far as the day goes. Today was pretty chilly, 37 degrees at Islip. Got a southeast wind, air pressure up to 30.28. And see, light rain is being reported. So the rain has moved in way quicker than we weren't expecting to see any wet weather until we thought tonight was going to be dry. But now, well, Friday and Saturday night are kind of crappy. So you can see temperatures generally only in the 30s all day today, with pretty chilly conditions. Again, even though we had a junky sky, it was pretty chilly out there. Actually colder than yesterday because that easterly flow, I guess. So let's look at the highs across the area and across Long Island. Well, Islip didn't even make it to 40. Only 39 degrees, 41, well below normal. Some of the areas on the east end were in the upper 30s. Much warmer as you head into Jersey, mid-40s there. And that's all because of that low-level cold air that was kind of working its way in from New England. Looking at our lows, let's see if there was any radiational cooling last night. Well, it looks like there was. West Hampton got down to 12, and everybody else got down to the mid-20s. It was pretty chilly this morning. So there was some radiational cooling. 17 in the Pine Barrens west of Toms River, otherwise mid-20s. So that might be our coldest morning for until next winter, perhaps. But yeah, pretty interesting that radiational cooling at West Hampton. I just want to look at that for a moment. So let's see. In the morning, we were down to. Yeah, we dropped. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out when the winds dropped. The winds dropped off around 3 or 4 in the morning. It's only a couple of hours, and it got down to the low teens. Yeah, I had a feeling it would. You could see very impressive radiational cooling there. But anyway, we've got the gale warning in effect. We got the flood watch in effect. We have this pink area here in New England. That's a gale watch, gale warning for the waters here. And if you go well upstate, you'll see plenty of winter storm warnings, and they're going to get a lot of snow upstate. Like I said, one of their biggest snowfalls for the season, ironically, in spring. So anyway, that's because we got the colder air in place, but it's more of an inland event, unfortunately. So we already looked at Weather Prediction Center. Let's just get Storm Prediction Center. You can see it's got a risk zone over Florida. We're going to move this into tomorrow because some areas could get to see some yeah, there is a marginal risk right on the Cape. But you see they have us in a general thunderstorm risk. So that is definitely a concern that we're going to see some thunderstorms tomorrow. And you never know, some of them could be strong. Excessive rain. This is the excessive rain zone here for tomorrow. Day 2, you can see they got us in a slight risk for the excessive rain. And a lot of rainfall is expected. So if we go to QPF here, yeah, this is what they got over us. They got us in this zone here of over 2 inches of rain at least. So we're going to be getting a lot of rain. Florida also, parts of Florida also getting soaked as well. So let's go to the models now and talk about this. Well, actually, we got to go to the climate statistics for the day, and then we'll go to the models. So Islip high was only, actually they're showing 40 degrees. That thing was wrong. It did hit 40. But still, 9 degrees below normal for the high. The low of 24 was 10 degrees below normal, putting us 9 degrees below normal for the day. Significant anomaly for the day. And that'll probably be the last time we're going to see temperatures that below normal for, like I said, for a while. Central Park, 46 degrees was the high there, so significantly warmer there for a high. There were 6 degrees below normal for the day. So a lot cooler on Long Island for whatever reason. I guess just because of the low-level cold air and maybe a few more clouds around. But anyway, So yeah, this whole mess is coming toward us. Like I said, we already have the drizzle out there, so it's already kind of getting damp tonight. And here's a look at the GFS here. So you see that high moving offshore. Here's your storm. You can see how it develops and brings that tropical moisture right up over us. In fact, let me go to this CONUS view so you get an idea of the storm here. So you can see where the moisture is coming from. So you can see it's tapping in. It's still this one's tapping in more into the Gulf moisture versus Pacific. But you can see, look at those bright white clouds, that arc of moisture coming up toward us. So all that moisture is coming up. You know, painted in green. You can see all that moisture is just coming right from the tropics. So there's that tropical feed that we're going to be getting into the storm system. And the water temperatures here are pretty warm. So it's plenty warm enough to definitely support all this added moisture. Because again, you have warmer than normal oceans. That fuel puts more moisture into the air. So you get stronger storms. And you see that storm move through. It's a wet day tomorrow. And then it ends by like later in the evening. And then for Sunday and Monday, we have high pressure built in. You'll notice that there's another low center that forms that gets almost tropical in nature. So you see the issue that we're going to have here looking at this. So if we look at the wind flow, it's going to be coming from the northeast. And that is going to help cause some tide issues at the beaches with that easterly wind. And we have a full moon as well. So we're going to be having to watch out for that northeast to east flow there. It is that low. We got that high that's kind of wedged down in the east there, and that gives us a good. It starts moving out on Tuesday, and we'll talk more about the weather next week. But at least we'll be dry for a couple of days to begin the week. At least Sunday and Monday look pretty decent, but we will have that wind blowing. It will be breezy with that low, that gradient. That almost looks tropical. That's a really interesting feature right there. So if we look at the 700 to 300 humidity here, just to show you the moisture that's being grabbed up from this, you can see here, look at that dark green. So it's plenty of moisture around. And then as we get into Sunday, things will dry out. But still very interesting. This looks tropical right here. Let me just look at the dew points. Yeah, it's surrounded by warm, humid air. This looks like a tropical system. This could be a tropical system. Wouldn't that be funny if we see our first named storm of the year already? Let's just take a look at the sea surface temperature anomalies, where that is. So we'll go to earthnullschool.net and we'll look at sea surface temperature anomalies. Yeah, we got some warm water. In fact, there's a ribbon of really warm water right over here. So if it sits over that ribbon or it gets close to that ribbon, and you can see the Gulf well above normal already. So, yeah, all these bright yellow colors, this is all well above normal. And the more disturbing thing is the whole Atlantic is well above normal. Our El Nino is fading away, which is good news. But we have very warm water still in the Atlantic. So that's definitely a concern. So this we're going to have to watch. I got to say it. But anyway, let's first talk about the rain that we're going to see. So we're going to look at the short-term models, and hopefully we've got the full HRRR in. All right, so we're going to leave it at the dew points to illustrate the moisture that's coming in. So the air moistens up as we get toward later in the day tomorrow, probably after late morning. You see the moisture levels increase, the humidity increases, the winds turn southeasterly, and then we have the cold front come in, and that's where there could be a focal point for some a heavy band of rain. And then the cold front comes in, the temperatures and the dew points drop, north winds take over into Sunday, and you can see the north to northeast winds taking over as we head into Sunday. All right, but we got to get through this storm first. All right, so air temperatures will probably just keep rising tonight. We'll probably go from the 40s, and we're going to make it into the 50s tomorrow by noon. We're going to have that warm air, and then once that cold front comes through, after the rain stops, temperatures are going to drop into the 30s. And by Sunday morning, we might be a little bit below freezing. And then for Sunday, we're going to have probably a below normal day where temperatures are probably going to get only into the low to mid 40s with those breezy conditions. And we're going to have to watch the cloud cover as well for that. But let's talk about the precipitation. All right, so we're going to go to the rainfall here and show you what the HRRR thinks is going to happen. So the rain is going to start probably after midnight, and then it's going to start becoming heavier. At times, you see those heavier areas of rain moving over us Saturday, and then we have to watch around Saturday afternoon for this front here to move through. Now, the HRRR actually seems to be moving this a little bit faster. So if you're in Jersey, it could be over as soon as 7 or 8 o'clock. But there could be a really heavy band of rain that we're going to have to watch with the center of low pressure, and then it moves offshore Sunday, and then we have to watch for the development of this thing, which will be interesting to see what's going to happen with that. If we look at the total rainfall on the HRRR, you'll see actually, yeah, it's got that band. So this is what they're thinking. Wherever that band sets up, that could be over Long Island, but wherever there's going to be a band that's going to set up, you're going to see over 3 inches of rain wherever that band is. Everybody else probably around 2 to 3 inches of rain with this. But there's a lot of rain, all right, considering how much rain we've already had this month. It's a lot of rain, and you know, the rivers and lakes are already very high. So this is what the HRRR seems to think. Now I'm going to go over to the NAM. We'll go to the NAM 3. I'm probably not going to have the 0Z NAM 3, and now we don't have enough of that end. So we'll have to use the 18Z run for it, and we'll show you the NAM here. And you'll see that, again, there's that rain, but the really heavy stuff on the NAM here showing it's showing more of a larger area, but right around 4 or 5 o'clock there's going to be some heavy downpours. But then it moves it on out, so it seems like it's trying to move it out earlier. We have faster movement on the system, so it might actually be done by 6 or 7 o'clock. It might actually be wrapping up and moving on out of here. And you can see there, again, there's that storm again forming offshore. Let's take a look and see what the NAM has as far as total accumulated precip. So it's dialed it back a little bit, but I'm not buying that. I think it's going to be 2 to 3 inches. So the NAM has dialed it back a little bit. I want to look at the FGen, so let's go to that 850 FGen here. Let's see what it's doing with FGen. The FGen doesn't look terribly impressive here on the 850. What about 700? We don't usually use 700 for rain. 850, we'll go to the NAM, let's go to the 12. Let's see what it looks like on the 12. We actually have a little more on the 12, so let's see. So, yeah, you could see, there is it's not that impressive. In fact, it seems like it is moving even faster on this particular run, the NAM 12. I'm kind of curious. Let's take a look at the radar presentation. It moves it on out by, wow, we might actually be able to salvage part of your Saturday night after, say, 6 o'clock or so. It might be out of here. So it does seem to be moving a little bit faster, which is good news for your Saturday night. And that also means less rainfall as well. So if it turns out to be a faster solution, maybe we have a little bit more toward just around 2 inches instead of the crazy high amounts that some of these other models were showing. It does seem to be a little more progressive, which is good news. Let's, I looked at all of those, but if we look at the GFS, it's probably still, GFS has dialed it back a little too as well, but I want to look at the FGen on the GFS as well, so let's do that. 850 FGen. So, yeah, it looks like it does look like there's less of an involvement here. So, this is a trend. We don't know. It's a trend, but I'm willing to say that we may not get as much rain as originally thought, looking at these models here. But I got to be cautious because the models always underperform, and that's something that we always have to be concerned about, the underperformance of the models. Just for fun, we're going to look at the HDRPS here, which is the experimental run here. Yeah, it shows that big, heavy blob coming in the afternoon, and then it's out of here by the evening. So we have to see what's going to happen here. It may move along faster. But this time here, 20 is about 4 o'clock. So 4 o'clock, 3 or afternoon, it may be that worst is going to be more in the afternoon than the evening. So that's, it seems to be a trend that this is moving faster, and that may tend itself to lead toward less rainfall, but I got to be cautious here. It may just be as heavy. It may just be moving a little bit faster, um, if you know what I'm saying. So let's go back to the GFS, and we will go a little bit more, and we'll talk about the skies and everything else. So once this all moves away, you can see we're in that northeast flow, dry but breezy conditions on into Monday. I'll go to Monday's weather in this weather update. You can see the northeast flow that we're going to have. And then there's your tropical system here, which is we're going to visualize in some of the others on some of the other models here. The other confusion that we have in this forecast that kind of makes it tough is the cloud cover, because this cloud cover it may wind up sitting over Long Island. It may be sunny over New Jersey. It's going to be a sharp cutoff between cloudy and mostly sunny on Sunday. And then once we get into Monday, it should push a little more east, though it still shows the clouds over Long Island and having it clear over New Jersey. This is the GFS model. Let me go look at the NAM3. We're not going to have enough of the 18Z in, but I want to look at the NAM3 as far as clouds go. So Sunday, it does seem to push it a little further offshore here, and you may actually wind up getting a mostly sunny day over New Jersey, not so much for Long Island. But you might wind up getting one in New Jersey. Possibly. We have the RGM as well to look at for sky cover. And you can see, the RGM clears out Jersey. It just has the clouds over Long Island. And then for Monday, it kind of does the same thing. It just has the clouds kind of sitting over Long Island. Yeah, it almost looks like it's forming an eye on that storm there. So, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with this. It's kind of hard to tell at this point. Of course, it is hard to tell. But it looks like Sunday should feature more sunshine. If this thing is moving faster, one would think that it's going to move further offshore as well. So we should have a clearer day on Sunday. Let's look at the... Let's go next to the... what's the next one? So we looked at all these models. Let's go and look at the wind situation. So we're going to go over to Vent2 Sky, talk about the wind gusts tomorrow. Again, this is the HRRR showing the winds, and we'll move this on tonight. So when we get that heavier rain coming in, you'll see showing some 51 mile an hour. So when these thunderstorms come through, they could have some strong wind gusts in them. You can see that. Look at those gusts. So that's why I think I haven't issued a wind advisory. There is no wind advisory, is there? Let me check. There is no wind advisory listed. I don't understand why they haven't issued a wind advisory. We're going to need a wind advisory tomorrow. It's going to be breezy, all right, especially when that heavy rain comes through, right? And you can see here, ahead of that front, when that front moves through, you could have some pretty strong winds. And behind it, the northwest flow takes over. And once we're at 8 o'clock, we're in the northwest flow, but we're still pretty breezy here behind it. And you see this area of convergence here. So this is what I'm concerned about, is the possibility that we're going to see the squall line develop here at some point tomorrow night. And the thunder and lightning and maybe even a severe thunderstorm warning might be necessary. And see, behind the front, we're dealing with 45 mile an hour wind gusts. Let's move this along to Sunday. Sunday, the winds are less. We're still seeing gusts of 27. It's a good thing we're getting this rain, because if we weren't getting the rain, we'd probably need a red flag warning. But luckily, we have the rain, so we're not going to need a red flag warning. You can see those wind gusts there. And then visualizing the storm that's going to develop offshore here. Of course, this is the HRRR. I would have to use a different model here. I'll move this to Monday here, and you can see, look at some of those wind gusts there, wherever that storm is. This is the HRRR, though it's using the icon. Let's go to the GFS. Because the GFS was showing this. Again, this is the GFS for Monday. Look at this thing. I mean, here's Sunday, Monday, and it looks like it's got an eye to it. So this is going to be interesting. And the thing that I want to point out here, again, you can see the northeast wind pushing that wind onto the shore here. So if we look at not clouds, if we look at, all right, we have to change the model, I think. If I have to go to automatic, if I want to look at this one doesn't do the waves, right? No, this one does the waves. All right, so if I go to automatic, you'll see the kind of deal we're going to be dealing with here, or with the surf here. So we're going to have some rough surf and more beach erosion. There's been a lot of beach erosion, a lot. It's been terrible. This is a sign of how fast things are changing and how fast our coasts are getting washed away. I did a video on that just a few days ago. And if you look in the heart of this storm here, yeah, 21-foot waves, 22-foot waves. This is going to be a major storm, and like I said, tropical characteristics. It does seem like it has some tropical characteristics to it. So that storm is really interesting me a lot. Now let's go to look at the thunderstorm threat, and we'll go to tomorrow and we'll look at that and see if there's any Cape values that we're going to have to watch for here. It's not showing any Cape values, but lifted index, not really very impressive. That's Saturday, really. That's not very. There's some here around 2. Not terribly impressive, but again, when I see that convergence, when I see that front there, I'm thinking the model could be underestimating it. Helicity is up there, but not really showing a real threat for severe weather. But like I said, there could be a thunderstorm in here. I want to go to the windy.com model as well, and so let's go into that and look at our the wave situation as we head into tomorrow here. This is the European model, so this is, this is showing already that we're going to see, oh my gosh, 12-foot waves already. So this is the European showing some significant wave. They may be underestimating how bad the coastal effects are going to be from this. And look off to the south. Look at how bad it is. 18 foot. And then I move it to Sunday. And it does show that there's less of an issue here along the coast. A little bit less of an issue, but it persists. It definitely persists. And we move this into Monday. Yeah, we can see it persisting. So we're going to have a kind of a duration event where we're going to have elevated surf at the beaches and more beach erosion, it looks like, unfortunately. That's what it looks like right now, and it doesn't really start getting better. And look at it, still has it for Tuesday as well. So, yeah, this is definitely a concern. Definitely a concern that we're going to have to watch. Let's go to wind, and we'll go to wind gusts. All right, so let's move this over to tomorrow and visualize the wind gusts here. And again, this is showing, you can clearly see the front, but east of the front, look at that 55-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And then behind the front, you can see a real sharp front here. It's going to be an LLJ ahead of it. And then behind it, the wind shouldn't be as bad. But there will be an LLJ ahead of it. And then the winds back off as we get into Sunday. Winds don't look as bad. And then let's look at the storm system here. Let's see what the European does with it. Has more of an extratropical look on the European, but look at some of these winds in there. And then Monday, the winds actually seem to pick up a little bit. And then we have gusts to 30, so we may still need some wind advisories here. Northeasterly flow onto Monday. And then, let's see, it still has it lingering into Tuesday, still. So, yeah, we're still going to deal with these breezy conditions in the northeast, and that's why we've got to worry about the surf with this northeast wind that we're going to continue to deal with. Let's go and look at the clouds. Just curious the Euro does. So the Euro does move a lot of those clouds pretty much off to the east on Sunday. And you have a sunny day in New Jersey, sunny and chilly. And Monday, a similar deal, maybe a little less cloud cover over Long Island. And then Tuesday, I probably move the clouds back in. Yeah, Tuesday, I would definitely move the clouds back in. Wow, that's quick. So, yeah, it kind of backs the clouds back in from that storm. But, yeah, this is a very interesting storm we're going to have to watch because it's we're just going to have to keep an eye on it. That's all. It's going to stay offshore, but it's going to have impacts at the beaches for sure. But anyway, we got to get through tomorrow's storm, obviously, showing the rain. And this is where I think this is a thunderstorm. Let's see if it pops a thunderstorm up here. If I go to rain, thunder. Let's see if it's showing any lightning here. Look at that heavy rain. It says around 1 o'clock, you can see. So it seems like it's still got it over us at 5, and then moves it east of us by 8 o'clock. But there's a band of some very heavy rain here. Very heavy rain. So not showing, let's see, thunderstorms. Let's see, yeah, this will show the thunderstorm threat. Not showing much, but I still think there could be a thunderstorm when right around that afternoon period for sure, I think. That we could see a thunderstorm. So let's go back to tropical tidbits. And we'll talk a little bit about the snowstorm they're going to get upstate. And then I'm going to wrap it up. Obviously, there'll be a weather update tomorrow night because of the weather, the storm. So if we move this to total snowfall, just show you the various models to show. Look at that. Yeah, they're going to get clobbered, and they're going to get clobbered. And it's going to be probably a heavy, wet snow. So expect a lot of power outages, especially in this green area. Maine, Vermont. This might be a little overdone here. But at least a foot in a lot of these areas, wherever that band sets up, is a good bet. It's a good bet. Let's go to the HRRR. Let's see what the HRRR is showing for upstate. Yeah. So in those mountains, you might even get 2 feet. So winter for those, the ski resorts up there, they've been short on snow. Well, they're gonna get plenty of snow for people to enjoy. Even though it's spring, this is the biggest snowfall that the Northeast will see. It'll be the biggest snowfall inland, and way up north. But there will be a lot of snow. So for those who love the snow, it's not that far. You can drive maybe a couple hours north, or I don't know how long it's going to take to get to some of these areas. But if you want to see the snow, there will be some up there for people to enjoy. So that's some good news. If you want to see, there's going to be a lot of snow, though. That's going to be a lot of snow. And I think it's going to be a heavy, wet type of snow as well. Because if we look at the temperatures, that will be where the snow is falling. Let's see. Yeah, you got that borderline temperature deal. So it's going to be a heavy, wet snow that's going to stick to the trees and cause power outages and problems. So it's not going to be the dry, powdery stuff. So I expect to see a lot of power outages here in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and parts of upstate New York as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on that too. When I tell you the storm has something for everybody. But anyway, I think I'm going to wrap up this Long Island weather update again. We've got a flood watch. We should also have a wind advisory in effect. I don't know why they don't issue one, but the worst of it looks like it's going to be in the afternoon tomorrow into the early evening, but it looks like now it's more toward the afternoon. So that's going to wrap up this Long Island weather update. You can see that little drizzle that we've got going on over there. So it's going to be a soaker tomorrow nonetheless. But hopefully maybe if this moves out in time, we'll be able to salvage some of your Saturday night. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this Long Island weather update, and I'll have another one update for you tomorrow night, and we'll talk about what this storm did. Once it should be pulling out by the time I do it tomorrow night. And then we have some decent weather to look forward to. Again, we'll have to watch that offshore storm. Possibly a tropical storm. So anyway, thank you for watching, and have a good night.